Porsche 718 Cayman GT4 RS. If you've ever wondered what would happen if Porsche stuffed the stupendous 4.0-liter, naturally aspirated, flat six from the latest 911 GT3 into the back of its mid-engine baby brother, the Cayman, the GT4 RS is your answer. This is Porsche's GT department letting its hair down, saying hold my Stein, and producing the car that we've all dreamed about, but never thought they'd have the nerve to put into production. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Let's go. Yes, it's the most hardcore, powerful, and track-hungry Cayman Porsche has ever made. But with the new 911 GT3 already in existence and a nutjob GT3 RS coming later this year, its remit is a little different. In the words of Andreas Preuninger, head of Porsche's GT department, it was high time to have a big party on the 718 platform. This car is a live concert on four wheels. It's such an entertainer and it was such a fun project to make. It's something that came from our heart and we've wanted to do it for a long time. We can see why you might think that. At 108,370 pounds, the GT4 RS is roughly 15 pounds-k cheaper than a GT3 with the same gearbox, 20 kilograms lighter, only 6 seconds slower around the ring, has an identical 0 to 62 miles per hour time, and has the same number of seats with a roll cage behind you. But Preuninger insists they are entirely different beasts. We are eager to give the GT3 everything we can to let it stay on pole position, like the double wishbone front axle, the rear wheel steering. On the GT4 RS we didn't look too much into super aero and eking out the last tenth of a second on the track. We tried to find the perfect compromise between road and track driving. We have 493 bhp, while torque gets a slight bump to 332 pounds-ft and it's PDK only, as per the RS doctrine. No manual gearbox here. Still, 0 to 62 miles per hour takes 3.4 seconds and the top speed is 195 miles per hour. Perhaps more impressive is the Nürburgring lap time of 7 minutes 4.511 seconds, over 23 seconds quicker than the standard GT4, which is light years around the ring. It's easily one of the best sounding cars we've ever driven. Ragging a GT4 RS is like having thick treacle poured into your ears, and then an entire wasp colony crammed in after it. It's just ridiculous. And each journey to 9 revolutions per minute isn't merely a sound. It's laced with sucking, vibrations, rattles, and spikes of adrenaline. A low-end warble that hardens in the mid-range and becomes silkier until it decomposes into a frantic shudder between 7,000 and 8 revolutions per minute, before a magnificent eargasm for the final 1 revolutions per minute that makes your soul sing and your face muscles hurt. And that's just when you're chasing the red line. The rest of the time you've got a musical instrument to play with using your right foot on the pedals and fingertips on the paddles. Normally I'd berate anyone who thought deleting the infotainment system in the name of saving a few kgs was a good idea, but here it might just make sense. Who needs infotainment when you can summon thunder with the throttle? And that's not even the best part. With most fast cars, the best noises come from the exhaust pipes, which can sound wonderful from the cabin, but you know it's sounding even better to whoever you just drove past. You're effectively providing a public service. But not here, because what you're listening to is induction noise from the carbon fiber intakes where the rear quarter windows are normally found. So while it's a rock concert turned up to 11 for driver and passenger, it's no more antisocial outside the car than a standard GT4. It's a trick singer deployed to great effect on the DLS, but that's a car that costs about a gazillion pounds more. Does the world really need a GT4 RS? Yes it does. You can tell Porsche wants to build these cars while it still can. Does the world really need a GT4 RS when we already have a more hardcore than ever 911 GT3? Yes it does. Goodness, are we happy this car exists. With an all-electric Cayman on the horizon, you can tell Porsche's GT department senses the combustion engine's demise and wants to build these types of cars while it still can. These monuments to what's possible when you mix extraordinary engineering with a bit of fun. Porsche isn't limiting numbers of the GT4 RS, just the amount of time it builds them for, so get in there while you still can. Silly quick on track, surprisingly usable on road, and a sonic sensation everywhere. Believe the hype. This is likely to go down as one of the all-time greats. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, and comment for more videos.